Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Exam Crackers. Here we will know about the things, the facts, the affairs which can be asked in any examinations, specifically in UPSC Civil Services and the State PSC's examination. So here we will discuss the important the topics which are important from the examination's point of view and which could be covered easily. So here we will discuss some important topics. So today we will pick a topic from the environment and ecology chapter, and this topic is very important, and it is from the current affairs. It is 13th COP on the Convention on Migratory Species. It's also known as CMS. So first we will know about the CMS, what it is, and when it came into the force. So CMS is just a convention on the conservation of migratory species of wildlife. It was signed in 1979 in Bonn, Germany. And this convention came into force in 1983. So it is as it is signed in Germany, Bonn, Germany. So it is also known as Bonn Convention. So CMS is the only global, the United Nations based intergovernmental organization established for the conservation and management of terrestrial, aquatic, and avian migratory species. CMS bring together the other countries for the conservation of migratory species, as the migratory species do not reside in any specific country or any specific area. They migrate from one country beyond the boundaries of any countries. They do not have any countries of its own, so they migrate from one place to another, and they cover the whole world in some on a few sense. So it is a internationally coordinated conservation measure. So CMS, the Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species, only it is the one of its type. So, and India is the party of CMS since 1983, since it came into the force. Next, why we will study the CMS, why we have to know about the CMS. It is just because recently in 2020, in the starting of 2020, there is a conference of party held in Gandhinagar, Gujarat, first of its type for India, first ever conference of party to the Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals. So here we will understand what is conference of party. We have also heard about it in earlier topics like conference of parties of on this held in this. We have so what it is. So basically, the conference of parties is a decision-making body of the convention. It meets in every 3 years. The secretariat, it is just a UNEP program, United Nations Environment Program, and the secretariat is provided by the UNEP also. So it is based in Bonn, Germany. So we'll get back to the 13 COP13. So the theme of 13 COP was migratory species connect the planet and together we welcome them home. The mascot of the event was GB, the Great. It was named after the Great Indian Bustard, a species which has been found in India, and the state bird of Rajasthan too. It is in the red IUCN Red Data Book too. So it needs to be conserved, and we will hope for the conservation is going very well. So we will we will discuss about the logo of COP13. In the logo of COP13, for the conservation of migratory species, column art form is used. Column art form is used to depict the key migratory species in India like emmer falcon, humpback whale, marine turtles. They all are migratory species. Now, here is a term column art form. What it is? So I want to tell you that column art form is just an art form drawing, which is common, most popular in South India and Sri Lanka. So it is just a drawing drawing you by using the flow, chalk powders, herb powders, and sometimes synthetic colors. Basically, it is drawn by the women on the gates of their entrance or something. We all have seen it somewhere. So that it is. Next, what are the key outcomes? It is also known as it was held in Gandhinagar, Gujarat, so it is also known as Gandhinagar Declaration. So it calls for the migratory species and the concept of ecological connectivity to be integrated and prioritized in the post-2020 global biodiversity framework, which is expected to be adopted at the United Nations Biodiversity Conference in October. They have also selected the three ambassadors for the different species like terrestrial, avian, and aquatic. The three of the ambassadors for the terrestrial species, they selected the Ian Redmond. He's a Malaysian biologist and conservationist, and selected as an ambassador for the terrestrial species. CMS ambassador for the terrestrial species. For avian species, Sacha Dench was selected. He is just an adventurous conservationist. And third is aquatic. For aquatic species, an actor from India was selected, Randeep Hooda. Now, there is also a concept of 7 migratory species champions. There is also a concept of migratory species champions is introduced in this COP. So, what are Germany, India, Italy, Monaco, Norway, the European Commission, and the Environmental Agency based in Abu Dhabi were acknowledged for their generous contribution to CMS initiatives. Why they are called champions? Because they have contributed many things for the conservation of migratory species, so they are acknowledged as a champion. Next, UN has also issued some stamps for spreading awareness about the migratory species, and India also issued a special stamp edition featuring the Great Indian Bustard, and awareness, for spreading awareness about it, and so India can show how important it is to conserve this species for it. For the first time, animal culture, the learning of non-human species through socially transmitted behavior, is being linked to the conservation action for the first time at the CMS COP13. Um, for it, two such proposals have also been presented for the conservation measures by understanding the social behavior of a particular species, like eastern tropical Pacific sperm whale and the nut cracking chimpanzee. They can be studied by studying their behavior, you know. So next, the new additions to the CMS appendix. There are certain appendices to the CMS, the list of species which need to be conserved, which needed to be conserved. So there are certain species, there are few new species they have added to this, and there are two appendices basically they have added. First appendix has 7 species the Asian elephant, jaguar, great Indian bustard, American florican, little bustard, Antipodean albatross, the ocean white-tip shark. And the second appendix 2, has three species: the usual smooth hammerhead shark and the top shark. They have just mentioned this these 10 species also needed to be conserved. What are the relations of India and CMF? Why it is important for India? As India have hosted the COP this time, so India will be its president or will preside it for the next 3 years till the next conference or party convention will not held. So why India is an important party to this? At COP13, 6 out of 10 species were added to CMS list is from India, like Asian elephant, Great Indian bustard, Bengal florican, oceanic white-tip shark, Uriel smooth hammerhead shark. These 6 species are from India. This shows how India is important to this CMS for this conservation program. So India has in its list like 457 migratory species already. No, sorry. Latest okay. With the latest edition of the CMS list, the total number of migratory fauna from India comes to 457, where birds comprise 83% of the lot. As India is a temporary home to several migratory species and birds, the important among these include Amur falcon, bar-headed geese, black-necked crane, marine turtle, dungeons, humpback whales, etc. So India is also geographically important because it is a temporary home for many species which travel through the India over the India. So and rest here for sometimes for acquired food for their journey. So India is geographically important for the migratory birds. Further, India has developed and implementing the national conservation action plans for the dungeons, great Indian bustard, sea turtles, and armored falcons. These are the migratory species, armored falcons and sea turtles, dungeons. So India is also seeing seeing the conservation of migratory birds as well as the indigenous birds. So India is developing and implementing the national conservation action plans for these birds. Next, flyways. Now we will understand what are the flyways. See, the migratory species travel in a common pathway. A flyway is a flight path used by a large number of birds while migrating between their breeding ground and their wintering quarter. Migratory species move from one habitat to another, during different times of the year due to various factors. Sometimes they need food, sometimes the sunlight is not proper for their survival, sometimes the food is not available, such as high latitudinal positions like Siberia. In Siberia there is lack of food, so the birds migrate from there and comes to the tropical region, and they found food, and temperature is also optimum, and climate is also sunny too, and make enable them to survive. So they migrate from there and comes to the tropical regions. So that's why, and they use only one route to migrate from one place to another, and these routes are called flyways. Loosely, there are there are 8 main flyways are there in the whole world as depicted in the figure in the next slide. There are 8 main flyways in all over the world, which is used by most of the migratory species in the world. And India subcontinent is being the part of the 3 of the major fly paths, which you can see in the next figure. It is being part of the Central Asia, uh, East Asia, and Australian, and this East Asia and East African. You know, so India is a part of the 3 flyways. So it is also important for India to take part in such kind of conservation activities. Now we'll talk about the other outcomes of the COP13 to the CMS. The other outcomes included that every country being a party of this convention has to make some changes in their national energy and climate policies, so that they can conserve, so that the survival of the the migratory species could be more easier, and the conservation will be easy for the countries to for of that particular species. Secondly, strengthen initiative to combat the illegal killing and trade of migratory birds. Uh, they need to be make certain laws to stop the illegal killing and the trade of migratory birds. Third, mitigate the impact of linear structure and such as roads and railways on the migratory species. Sometimes it happens as it happens in the Kaziranga National Park, that railway lines all usually come into the migratory path of the certain species, and they harm a particular species like elephant or rhino. So there should be a certain uh, you know solution for that. So the parties need to think about this first. Address the unsustainable use of aquatic wild meat, and countries should ban the excessive exploitation of the ocean for their food. Next, undertake a review of bycatch levels of shark and rays, and further implement bycatch mitigation measures for the marine mammals and national fishing operation. Now, what is bycatch? Bycatch are some unwanted fishes, which which is like we cannot use them as food, or which is of no use. So countries have to make certain laws, certain mitigation measures, so that the bycatch, which is just food, which is just waste, should be avoided, can be avoided, and that's it. Yeah, here is all the topics covered. All the things about COP to the Convention on Migratory Species is covered. I think if it is being asked in um, long type question, you can write easily on it. Every fact about it is covered, and tell me in comments for how it is, and what else I have missed about the COP. And thank you so much. Have a good day.